Okay. You also mentioned a little earlier that you use the DeMartini method. Now, a lot of the people that might be watching this right now have no idea what that is. We're going to find out a little bit more about the DeMartini method in a few weeks' time when we speak to the man himself who developed it. But what I'd like to know is a little bit about the DeMartini method from your point of view,
Mhm.
the idea of values and what that kind of means, and how you would maybe use values and maybe subtly or overtly in reference to the work that you do with kids or even with adults.
Okay. Now, from my perspective, the Demartini method is a life-changing tool. I use it almost every day, and the way that I can use it, the way that I can structure my life with it is quite profound. I've found that I can use it for basically any situation. As John calls it, it's the tool with a thousand uses, and it truly, truly is. Um, I use it in my life specifically for my professional life and finding answers within myself. That's what I focus on. In the terms of values, I've found that his value determination process, which I'm sure you'll be sharing with the audience later on, um, is a very, very profound and significant thing. It actually gets me to understand what my hierarchy of values are and to understand what is most important to me, which I actually struggled with in my earlier years because going through high school, you often inject what other people believe you should be doing and what you think you should be doing. So to understand what's important to me is a major, major thing in my life. And John's work in the DeMartini method just have a way of really, really getting your heart open and showing you what's important to you and actually giving you the tools of how to go and get that, how to actually dissolve the fears, dissolve the guilt, dissolve the anger, the resentment of actually pursuing what you want and actually go and get that. So that in my life is it's a big, big thing. And I've been told countless times by people that I have a dark and angry side to me through doing a lot of martial arts competition, cage fighting, boxing. They say, look, you've got to be inside, and I think I probably am deep down. Um, and I've really analysed that part of me using the method, and I've found amazing things about myself. Why deep down I was angry, why I was cage fighting, why I was just eternally frustrated. And the method actually opens you up as a person and actually shows you what your concerns are, what's going on inside your mind, inside your heart, and it actually gives you the solutions to that and how to actually be centered, always present, and inspire what you do. So the method is an amazing tool for the people that want to actually inspire their life and dig deep within themselves and become the person they want to be.
Great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Now, these last two questions that I have are more in reference to, again, with the kids. The first question that I wanted to ask you is if you can share some of the successes you've had with the work that you've done with kids in martial arts. So where you've seen some transformation or some change in them, where you might have had like a really introverted kid or really shy kid or something like that, and now they're really like in that leadership position and taking things forward. Can you share maybe a couple of those?
Yeah, yeah, I have quite a few of those, but I'll share with you one specific one which is very, very, very profound. I had a boy, his name was Anton, and he became probably my top student, still is. He started with me when he was about 11 years old and he was going through bullying. And when he came to me, his parents brought him to me, I was probably about 17 at the time, I'd say. And he started doing my classes, and him and I kind of um, we established, I guess you can say, a older younger brother bond sort of thing. And as the years went on, I was actually just trying to help him with the martial arts. That's all I knew at that age. And once I learned John's work and I became quite confident with it, I actually took him to the side and I said, "Look, Anton, I see that you're still getting bullied. You're very upset with a lot of things in your life. You know, let's go out and I'll have a chat with you." So we sat down. We went to our local shopping center. I took him out for a drink, just a cup of coffee, and I said, "Look, sit down and actually tell me what's going on." And as he was talking to me, I was writing things down, and I explained to him, you know, this is what we do. I gave him kind of the crash course in the method, told him what it's about, and I was taking him through a little collapse in a way. And at the end of it, he was quite open to the idea of why he was getting bullied. He understood it, and I said, "Look, that's great." And I gave him a bit of homework, and I said, "This is what I want you to do. Go home, write down these things, this and that." And about 2 weeks after that, I saw a massive change in him, and I saw that he was actually opening up. He started doing competitions with me. He started training under me even more, and from a kid that wasn't really talking to anybody in class, becoming a kid that was actually competing and actually winning, was a big thing. And I couldn't help but feel a massive, massive feeling of pride inside myself and thought, that's a kid that's really opened up, and I can actually see it. Observed him, and he actually went to a big, big martial arts competition and won gold in that. And I was on the side mentoring him and actually trying to keep him in the zone the whole way, and ended up winning, as I said, and that was a big, big turning point in his life. So from about 12 years old, and he's now 16, he is probably the most confident kid I know. He needs some humbling now, actually. He's very, very confident. He's very good with getting rapport with the girls, I guess you can say. So girls. And and his parents just don't know what's happened to him. They said, "Look, we didn't never expected him just to open up like this. He knows what he wants to do. He wants to be a martial arts instructor now." And he said,
Wow.
"Look," he said to me, "You're very much like a brother, and thank you very much for your time. I'll never forget that time you took me out and talked to me, and you really opened me up. And I kind of hope one day that I can be like you." And that really touched my heart. I thought, wow, I felt that I made a difference to his life, and that one example of who he is and what I took him through, my mind is more than enough to explain what the DMIT method does, and its power, and in the right hands, what it can actually do with that focused attention in any area that you have. For mine, it was martial arts, empowering kids like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever they choose to use it, it's a powerful, powerful tool. So that one example, from him when he was 12 to 16, is that there's a massive shift in his mind for sure, in the way he acts.
Wow, it's an incredible story. Amazing work. Next question, final question. So, for a lot of parents or teachers, teachers can also be parents, I guess, but for a lot of adults that are watching this video or this interview, what advice or suggestions would you give to them? Some of them who have kids, who are working with kids, that might be being challenged or bullied, as other people might label it, by some of their peers. What advice or suggestions would you give them?
Good question, actually. I've been doing a lot of work around this and trying to understand the bullying dynamic even more than I already do. And I've actually found that probably 50% of all the parents that bring their kids to my classes, the actual martial arts, those parents have actually had an experience or heard of a tragic experience, I could say, of a kid being bullied or being abused, molested in any sort of way, and that actually created a void inside the parent, whether the parent was young when they were growing up, before they even had children, and that actually drives the parent to actually show the kid martial arts, introduce them to a way of empowering themselves. Even if the child has not been bullied or abused in any sort of way, it's actually a void within the parent, and they project that and think this kid or my child should actually learn how to defend themselves just in case anything happens, which is a fantastic thing. But in the same time, I look at it and I think to myself, it's not really the child that's choosing to learn this. It's more the parent that's projecting this is what they should be learning because the parent has a void in that area, and it's something that they didn't really understand. So what I would suggest is one thing. Go to a breakthrough experience. That's what we do. One of John's signature programs. They could either contact obviously yourself or myself and learn more about the bullying dynamic. That's one thing they could do. And actually before they make a decision with a child in a bullying dynamic is actually ask themselves what is going on, what is the role I'm playing as a parent, and actually understand that which is one of the principles, is that if a child is being over challenged, bullied, then there is a overprotector. There's someone that's really giving too much support. So it's to understand the principles and the dynamic behind the bullying, which is quite complicated in a way, and you do need a level of experience to understand that. But I would suggest the top thing would be to understand the work more, going to John's breakthrough experience, or contacting somebody that actually understands the work as much as John, and can help out as much as they can. They're the two things that I would suggest.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that advice. I'm sure there are a lot of parents who might watch this who have kids who are being bullied or challenged by their peers in some form or another, or like you said, sometimes even more traumatic than that, have been through some sort of abuse, and would love to know the wisest ways, I guess, to work through that challenge with their kids, and really get them to a place where they can be authentically themselves. So thank you for that. Also, I wanted to definitely honor your role and the role that you play in terms of helping kids in this dynamic. Your role is, in a lot of ways, quite different to the way some people or a lot of people would deal with this dynamic, because your role involves physical movement with the body. And some people might look at that and go, well, that's martial arts, that's dangerous. They can go and then hurt someone with that. But the way you've explained it and the way you've really put it across, in essence, it's not necessarily about being physically violent towards another human being. It's about exercising discipline and exercising focus and really getting in touch with your inner being, which is really what you've expressed, you learned through martial arts that really helped you kind of connect to yourself. So for all those parents who are watching out there who have any hesitations about their kids wanting to do martial arts, just remember that martial arts is not necessarily about violence. It's about helping kids find an inner calm or an inner peace or an inner knowing. And thank you for sharing that, because I guarantee you there are a lot of parents out there who wouldn't want to do that because of their perception that martial arts has a violence aspect to it, and they don't want their kids going to go beat up someone that's been challenging them. So I appreciate your insights into that.
Thank you. It's something, as you said, that isn't really understood, and I really hope that I've given a whole new meaning to martial arts, and I've actually shown the the non-violent side to it. That's something I try to do my best to.
Great. Well, thank you again for taking so much time to answer all these questions. So, at Be Who You Want to Be International, we aim to bring professionals like you together in one location in order to assist parents and teachers to collaborate more closely with kids. It's definitely one of the visions that I have in my business. It's something that's lacking, I believe, in the world. So I'm grateful for your contribution. I'm truly inspired by your dedication to assist the kids that you work with to grow into the empowered leaders that they obviously can be. So I look forward to bringing more of your insights and practical skills and wisdom to more people through this company over the next few months or the next few years, or however long we choose to collaborate with each other. So thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you very much for your time. It was my pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.